Hey YouTube, what's up? In this video, we're going to be covering the Stride format again. And there was a lot of people who, when I stopped doing the Stride formatted decks, that they were questioning if I was starting to not like Vanguard, or I was not going to play Premium, or I was never going to play the Stride format again. It wasn't necessarily that. It was more to the fact that the Stride format had so much wrong with it towards the end that I just had a problem with. I didn't want to continue playing the game because it seemed the cards were just getting more and more overpowered, and I think Bushiroad noticed that, and that's why we created the standard format. And the standard format is something that I really enjoy. It's takes Vanguard back to the basics where it very first started, which I really like, with just a different spin on it. Now, they have said Stride is not gone from the game, so eventually it will make a return, but I hope they introduce it in a little more different way. Um, but the Stride format was a lot of fun. We saw a lot of cool decks, a lot of cool cards, and a lot of cool strategies. So in this video, I'm going to be covering my top 5 favorite decks from the Stride format. So in the comment section below, please also cover and tell me what some of your favorite decks from the Stride format were. Are they some of mine? Are they different? Let me know. So for the first one we're going to talk about, it's the one that just misses the cut at number 6, and that is Blade Master. Now, Blade Master was a card. Dragonic Blade Master came in set 1 of the G set, and it got overlooked because it came in the same set as Dragonic Overlord the Cross. Now, I remember seeing people opening packs of set 1, getting Blade Master, and throwing it in the trash. And I would always tell them, no, if you're just going to throw it out, let me have it, because I will find a way to make this card work. If you look back in some of my old videos, I had a few Blade Master control deck profiles that I used before the support came out with the Blade Master Stride and all that, and I thoroughly enjoyed playing that deck. It was a very control heavy style, which I really enjoy for those who know me. And I really enjoyed playing that deck. It was a lot of fun. It was a different thing for Kagero besides just the Dragonic Overlord decks. But I enjoyed playing Blade Master. The fifth one is a deck that I know a lot of people hated, but it was a deck that I thoroughly enjoyed playing, and that was Ripples. Now, Ripples were a deck that literally started this craze of people trying to create decks that was a deck that screwed with Stride, because they would stay on grade 2 for as long as they could just to prevent their opponent from striding, and they would normally win because most decks had transitioned to a type of gameplay where they needed to stride in order to hit their combo plays and do their main things. Now, prime example of this is Gear Chronicle. That deck needed to stride in order to win. But Ripples, it may not have been the first deck that started that craze, but it was definitely one that I think out of all of them, it's up there with 7Cs as the best stall troll deck that there is. And it was because you could just use the Ripple Ride Chain and the grade 2 Ripple to restand or rear guard and get 4 attacks. And when your opponent's at grade 1, that's very hard for them to deal with. So it was a fun deck to play. I remember winning at least 3 or 4 local tournaments with it because it was so easy to pilot. It was insane. It eventually got to the point I just didn't play it because there were people who were just like, I don't want to play it. And I don't blame people. And Bushiroad came along and they hit the grade 1, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, 2-1 because the deck was just so stupid. But I do remember using Ripples and liking it because the Ripple Legion was also fun once you went into that to finish the game. But, you know, it was fun. It was a nice deck, but it wasn't everyone's favorite deck to come across because it was very annoying to play against. Number 4, and I didn't think this would be it. I didn't think this would crack my top 5, but it did, and that is Ritual Luard. I was so happy to see Shadow Paladin go in another direction away from blasters, because it always seemed like that was all they had that was ever successful. The witches were meh at best, and Claret's sword never really took off. Blasters was pretty much the only way that you could go with um, Shadow Paladins. And now, when I say blasters, I also mean the Revengers, because Revengers really were just the second gen blasters. I mean, because if you look at the Revengers and the blasters, they pretty much had the same unit. So I'm combining those two for my sake. Um, but Revengers and blasters were pretty much their main thing, and they needed another representative of the clan, and Luard was a really really cool idea. Um, Dark Wizard and Dark Elves were really really cool, and I really enjoyed playing Luard. That's probably going to be one of the decks that I finish. I still never got his upgraded support because when Standard came out, I kind of just stopped, and I do want to get the Luard support and finally finish the deck, but it is not like a needs to happen right now thing. But I did thoroughly enjoy playing Luard because it was a different way to play Shadow Paladins, and I really do like Shadow Paladins. Number 3 is Chaos Messiah. Now, you might be asking yourself what Chaos Messiah is. Now, when Messiah first came out, it was very hard to build because the one stride unit that Alter Ego Messiah, not Alter Ego, God, I can't think today. The one, the stride unit that when he came out, he was only a generation rare and he was ridiculously expensive. He really just couldn't last on his own until he got more support. He got Flagellate Messiah. I cannot remember what the first Messiah stride is. I know there's going to be someone on the other end of the screen screaming at me what it is, but I don't know what it is. But Messiah was a lot of fun to play. It was another way to spin Link Joker. It wasn't just I'm gonna lock your stuff. I'm gonna lock your stuff and my stuff, and then lock on my stuff to get more abilities, and then lock you more. And it was kind of like Star Vaders with a different twist, and it was a really cool twist. I really enjoyed playing Messiah. Now you might be asking yourself why Chaos Messiah, because you might be asking yourself what that is. Well, I tried all the supporter grade 3s for Messiah. Like they had the one where you locked one on both sides of the board, and things like that, but they never worked for me. So I played a style like I wanted my main 3, which was Alter Ego Messiah, and then for my second grade 3, I wanted it to be an alternate thing that I could go into and use to either finish the game or stall my opponent out and make them dump their hand. And I started thinking what I could do that with. So I chose the Deleter Legion, and it really, really worked. Because if you caught your opponent to 5 damage with your stride unit that gained a crit, when I'm done recording this video, I'm going to remember what that stride unit is. But you could push your opponent to 4 or 5 damage, then you went into the Deleter Legion and you deleted their Vanguard, and they froze. Because now they have 4 or 5 damage, their Vanguard's deleted, and they have a small hand. So it was a very good finish, and I enjoyed playing that deck. It was a lot of fun. I actually missed that deck. Number 2, and I kind of hate myself for having this deck on here, Gear Chronicle, Mellum, Urwater, TikTok bullshit. I did a deck profile. I did a long discussion video on it. The deck was just absolutely, positively insane. It was absolutely insane. The ability to have 2-3 cards in your hand, and after one turn with Phoenix and Mellum and Urwater and TikTok and History Maker, your hand would go from 2 to 3 cards to a possible 13, 14. It was absolutely insane. So, it was a fun deck to play. It was bad for the game, because the ability to loop Urwater with TikTok and all that, you could just sit there and do it and gain so much advantage off of it. It wasn't as bad as some of the other things that were around at the time, like the Neo Nectar and the Angel Feather stand trigger loop thing, but it was bad for the game in a sense where you could just draw two, put it back, call it back, draw two, put one back, draw two, put one back, and just keep recycling that stand over and over again. It was bad for that. But it was a fun deck to play. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I took it to a regional. Probably should have should have topped at that regional if I didn't get that guy who stalled me for time. Um, but you know, it is what it is. But it was a fun deck to play, and I still enjoy looking at it and remembering building the deck because I really enjoyed the unique choices that I felt I made to it, and I enjoyed the deck. So now my number one deck from the Stride format. If you know me, you're probably gonna have an idea, and I think a lot of you would probably say the last Overlord support with the Purge. Yes, in a way it is. But if I had to pick, it would be the Cross and Legion with the original way that Stride was with the 8 cards. Here's why. Kagero, right before then, kind of fell out of relevancy. Um, the Perditions really never got. They never really took off with the Great and Vortex. They were never really an amazing deck. They were a great deck. They were a great deck. Draconic Overlord great, but it wasn't like a top meta deck, or at least in my opinion, it wasn't. But the Cross and End gave Kagero the boost they needed to get back into the meta, where they were considered a top meta deck, because now you have a 22k swinging Legion that has 2 different skills, and if you let it hit, it's going to restand, and if it misses, it's going to blow your field up. And it also had Stride to go into if it wanted to nuke more cards on the field with the Flame Dragon Stride, the original one that blew up a column, or you could just you go into another Stride and just gain advantage. I mean, it was a fun deck. I enjoyed it, but it I think that deck's always going to be more special to me anyway, more over the Purge and the Destiny, because the Cross and Legion deck is what I used when me, Christian, and Sam qualified for Nationals. So I think that was 2015 or 2016, I don't remember, but it was that deck was just so fun and so special to me because it just reminds me of that time and that regional where we were literally in a barn and it was hot as fuck. What were they thinking putting us in there? But it was a fun tournament. I love the deck, and I still have the original cards that I used at that tournament. I know that because I got them signed by the president of Bushiroad, who was there, and I'd keep them just to remember that because it was a fun tournament and I really enjoyed that. But anywho, guys, those are my top 5 favorite decks from the Stride format. What are some of your favorite decks from the Stride format? Let me know in the comment section below. And anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure in the comment section below if you think of something else that you want me to do a video on, a topic you want me to discuss, or anything like that. Leave that below, and I will see what I can do. I hope you're all doing great no matter where you are. Make sure you give this video a big thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe, and share this, all that fun stuff, and I'll see you next time.